Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Hot Tea with Holly. I am Holly and I am having a hot cup. You can barely see it. Today it's PG tips, no maple syrup. Pretty darn proud of myself. I'm doing my best to cut back on sugar these days. And so my PG tips is just plain old black tips. How are you? If you're here with me live, please say hello. And if you're watching this in playback, these episodes are taped live every Tuesday at 1 o'clock on the East Coast. Over on Holly Perkins Fitness on Facebook. So I go live on Facebook, and then this will then be posted over on YouTube and on my blog. So if you're finding me on YouTube, come on over to hollyperkins.com, say hello. If you would like a free download, just come to hollyperkins.com/offer, and you're going to get my totally free 14-page download, which is a 6-week strength and cardio program, complete with sets, progressions, video tutorials of the exercises, literally everything you need. Welcome. How are you? I am on the East Coast today. I'm actually going to be on the East Coast for the next few weeks, and then I'll be back in California, the nomad that I am. Today, we are talking about hold on, let me get my notes up, 5 diet rules for fat loss. And this is a good one. This is a big conversation. This is one of those things that's very misunderstood out there in internet land. So we've come to a time where the headlines in the media really tend to rule what we start to unconsciously, subconsciously absorb as relevant information. And one of the things that I've been noticing for so many years is that there is this automatic assumption that there are certain ways of eating that help you to burn fat better or to promote fat loss better. And while that's absolutely true, a lot of times it's not what you think. And so today I'm going to be sharing with you my 5 diet rules for fat loss. Now, here's the thing. There are a lot of experts out there in the world like me. Many of us have different opinions. There are many people that share the same opinions that I do, and there are many that have very different viewpoints. And the truth is, I really do believe there are a lot of different approaches to weight loss, fat loss, and health. What I do know is that after 30 years of being in the business and coaching women day in and day out, these are the principles that I have found always work. Always. It's literally the rule of the body universe, if you will. So the first thing that you want to remember is that your physical body ascribes to the laws of physics and the laws that really are at play in terms of biology, physiology, and science. And so there are certain laws that we know are just fact. Energy is one of those things that has already been established as fact. You've heard the phrase, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. And basically what that means is the energy that is around us is not being created. It's being transmuted, if you will, from another source. So the energy that is lighting this room and allowing me to come to you live today, it's a source of energy, and that energy isn't created to power my computer and my lights. It's transferred from someplace out in the world and turned into electrical power. And the human body is very similar. So the fact that I'm sitting here, I'm upright, I'm conscious, my brain is working, my heart is beating, I'm breathing, and I'm speaking, my body is just like the computer that you're watching me from. It needs an energy source. It needs fuel, if you will, like a vehicle. And where does that energy come from? Because if we are not creating energy within our body to sit up straight and to keep the brain functioning and to keep our heart beating, if we're not creating that energy, how do we find the energy to do the things that we do and to frankly, stay alive. And that is where we start to look at the pure laws of physics. How do we create this energy that allows the muscles to have the fuel to hold me upright in space? And that is ultimately the foundation of what we're going to be talking about today. 5 diet rules for fat loss. And regardless of where you fall on the spectrum and conversation around fat loss or weight gain or muscle gain, it all comes back to one core principle that will be the number one diet rule for fat loss that I'm going to be talking about today. And we're going to actually go backwards. We're going to count these backwards, David Letterman style, starting with the 5th and least most important, but still relevant. And I'm going to work my way down to the number one rule for fat loss is, stay tuned, because we are going to be talking about that in just a couple minutes. If you're here with me live, please say hello. I'm having my PG tips in a proper British teacup. I guess this would be British porcelain. I think it would be. Anyway, I'm having my hot tea today. If you're having a beverage, do share and let me know. Hello, Lois. How are you? Heidi is having her Japanese sencha. I am missing my Japanese sencha. I will be having that probably tomorrow, but definitely on Thursday. So tomorrow is a travel day for me. And then I'm going to land in Pennsylvania on Wednesday. I'm going to be in Pennsylvania for a couple of weeks and then back to California. So I've got myself set up. I'm officially bi-coastal. I've got a home in Pennsylvania, a home on the West Coast now. More on that later. And I've got my tea paraphernalia in both places. And I'm so excited to get back to Pennsylvania to have a cup of Japanese tea brewed properly. So hello, Teal. Wait, let me get the glasses on because my eyes are definitely not working great today. Does that say Teal? It does. Teal is having green tea as well. Jenny, June, Ultima Replenisher, Jenny, what flavor are you having? And Karen, hello. So good to see you here. Let's jump in. We're talking about 5 diet rules for fat loss. Number 5, we're counting backwards. That is right. Number 5, honestly, I think it might be my favorite of the 5 because this one is powerful. This one is a big one. Number 5 diet rule for fat loss is alcohol and sugar literally turn off your body's ability to burn fat. The name of the game when it comes to fat burning as well as fat loss is to make sure your metabolism is in a fat burning state. And there are several things that we do to make that happen. We want to keep your body in a fat burning state 24/7 because then you're going to burn off extra body fat more easily if your goal is to release some extra body fat. Now, you might be here at a healthy body fat level. This is still relevant because we feel great. Human feels great when we are burning fat as our primary fuel. The problem is most of us are not walking around burning fat as the primary fuel. The reason for that is you actually have to do things to keep your body in a fat burning state. It doesn't just happen. You have to eat a certain way. You have to manage your stress. You have to get a certain amount of sleep. You've got to be careful with caffeine, believe it or not. You have to exercise a certain way so that your body stays in beta oxidation. And yes, your diet is a huge part of the equation because if you're not eating consistently, your blood sugar is going to drop out and you will not burn fat 24/7. If you're not getting the right macronutrient distribution, your body will not burn body fat. So when it comes to fat loss, I'm of the camp that believes it's really about teaching your body to be in a fat burning state so that you can burn fat all day long and focus more on the fat burning to make your fat loss and weight loss efforts easier. But here's the thing. This is where it's very easy to get confused in modern media, because the media will lead you to believe that getting into a fat burning state alone leads to weight loss and fat loss, and it doesn't. See, you could be in a fat burning state 24 hours a day, but still not burn off extra body fat. And that's because of diet rule number 1, which we're going to save for last today. So it's key that you are staying in a fat burning state, and alcohol and sugar literally turn off the fat burning state for anywhere from 6 to 12 hours. 6 to 12 hours. Think about that. Let's say it's 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, you've had dinner or you're getting ready for dinner and you'd like to have a glass of wine. I personally don't have a problem with alcohol consumption in general, but the thing you want to think about is, even if you're just having 1 5-ounce pour of wine, it's turning off your fat burning for several hours, potentially all the way till breakfast the next day. That's 6 to 12 hours where you could be burning body fat. When it comes to weight loss, you really have to go above and beyond your efforts to get your body to override homeostasis and release extra body fat. It doesn't happen easily. If there's anyone here who has burned off a substantial amount of body fat easily, please share. And when I say not easy, I don't necessarily mean that it's painful and it's torture and you're going to be pulling your hair out, but it absolutely does require consistent and ongoing effort. Every little bit helps. And this is where I have found it's going to be so much easier for you to burn off body fat and lose weight if you're taking the actions needed to put your body into a fat burning state 24/7. And if you are taking action to get into a fat burning state, it doesn't really line up to be ingesting alcohol and added refined sugars, because it takes away half of the day, half of your hours of fat burning ability. So if the science is 100% bulletproof and accurate, which who knows if it actually is, but the common rule is alcohol and sugar turn off fat burning for 6 to 12 hours. Let's go along with the idea that it's 12 hours, and you could say 6 if you want. That's half of your life, half of your fat burning ability where you're not burning fat. In other words, if you remove alcohol and sugar from your diet, you're going to burn body fat 2 times better. That's 100% improvement in your ability to burn body fat. That's big stuff. Now, again, I really want to underscore, I don't have a problem with eating a little bit of sugar or drinking some alcohol. I do it. I have my clients do it. Many of my clients include some sugar, include some alcohol. But what I will say is, the more determined you are to lose weight and burn off body fat, the more you're going to want to reduce the amount of alcohol and added sugars that you take in. It's just going to make your fat loss, weight loss efforts so much faster. 2 times faster, a 100% improvement simply by reducing or eliminating alcohol and sugar. In the times in the past when I really had to get as lean as possible, as quickly as possible, I would completely eliminate all added sugars, all alcohol for a very long stretch of time. And that was when I could just release body fat easy and effortlessly every single day. I would wake up in the morning and my body would look different. And as soon as I had some alcohol or I brought in the sugar on a consistent basis, I would see a change in my body. So if you're determined to really optimize your fat loss or fat burning for performance, I strongly encourage you to take a look at your alcohol frequency and the amount of added sugar that you're getting in your diet. Now, added sugar is not fruit. Added sugar is not carrots. Added sugar is maple syrup in your tea. It's honey. It's white table sugar. It's the sugar that might be in your salad dressing or your bread or even your pasta sauce. A lot of prepackaged products that are on the shelves these days have sugar. In fact, almost all of them have sugar. Even some of my favorite turkey jerkies have sugar. Almost everything has sugar. So you really do have to start to look at the products you're consuming all day long to check that label and see, is there added sugar? Because that is what we're talking about. We're not talking about fruit. We're not talking about sweet potatoes, and we're not talking about carrots here. We're talking about drinking alcohol and added sugars. 5 diet rules for fat loss. Number 4, because we're going backwards if you've just chimed in live with me, you want to eat at least 40% of your daily calories coming from carbohydrates. Now, if you are learning how to balance your macronutrients, if you are honing your skills in terms of counting your macros, as some people say, and getting strategic with the foods that you eat, come on over to my website, hollyperkins.com/macros. And if you put your name and your email address in, you're going to be able to download a totally free 14-page guide where I give you incredible information on how to hit the 40% of your daily calories coming from carbohydrates through eating strategically. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it in that free download. hollyperkins.com/macros. Now, in order to really optimize fat burning so that you can prompt fat loss, it's critical that you're keeping your blood sugar stable. You've heard me say this quite a few times if you've been around here with me. And really, the best way to get into a fat burning state is to stabilize your blood sugar. The best, maybe even the only way to stabilize your blood sugar is the only way to really burn fat as your fuel is to stabilize your blood sugar. When you have stable blood sugar all day long, your body is able to burn fat as its primary fuel. That allows you to feel amazing, perform better, but also burn body fat as your fuel 24/7 so that you then are better able to burn off the extra body fat that you don't want. But this is all dependent on the number 1 diet rule for fat loss, which we're going to get to in just a couple minutes. So the number 4 diet rule for fat loss is that you want to be eating at least 40% of your daily calories coming from carbs. Now, another way of saying this is low carb eating does not necessarily equate to fat loss. I will say that again. Low carb eating does not necessarily equate to fat loss. You maybe have been led to believe that low carb means weight loss, that high fat, high protein means fat loss, but it doesn't. Now, you can manipulate the amount of carbohydrates that you're eating to optimize your fat burning. That can be done, but that's exactly why I guide my clients to eating 40 to 50% of their daily calories coming from carbohydrates. If you strength train and you're active, as you really should be, you probably will need closer to that 50% of your daily calories coming from carbohydrates. And that is why inside of the Nutrition Project and inside of most of my coaching programs, I always start my clients at 50% carbohydrates. Because if you're a woman and if you strength train, or if you exercise regularly, there's a strong likelihood that your body needs more than 40% of your daily calories coming from carbs. Now, if you're an angel and you really design your life for biohacking, you can reduce the amount of carbohydrates that you eat. You can. But if you're not taking action literally every minute of every day to stay in a fat burning state, your body is actually kicking in and out of a fat burning state, at times burning carbohydrates. When you burn carbohydrates as fuel, you need to eat more carbohydrates as fuel. And so again, this is where science doesn't always rule, because in practice, in the real life of the real life, you're not a science experiment. And so what I have found is, sure, research might tell us something about fat loss, and some of those research citations are certainly accurate, and we can draw from those insights. But in practicality, very few humans are able to get into a true fat burning state 24/7. And if you're not in a true fat burning state 24/7, you need to eat more carbohydrates. Now, the goal is to get into a fat burning state 24/7. And when you get there, you're able to eat fewer carbohydrates if you want to. So if you're able to get into a fat burning state, you're able to eat higher fat, higher protein. The problem is, as soon as you have a stressful day, as long as you have a bad night of sleep, as long as you have some alcohol or sugar, when any of those things happen, your body kicks out of fat burning and into carbohydrate burning. And that's when you need to eat a higher percentage of carbohydrates. So in practice, what I have found is that the easiest path to fat loss is to get around 40 to 50% of your daily calories coming from carbohydrates. Some of us need more than 50%, and you might need 40%, depending on how strenuous your strength training is, how much muscle mass you have, and how active you are. The less active, the less muscle you have, the fewer the carbohydrates you need to eat. So if you're not super active, if you don't have a lot of muscle, and if you don't strength train strenuously, you're going to want to aim for about 40% of your daily calories coming from carbs. But if you're in my community, chances are you're probably strength training with passion, and you're probably fit, and you're probably pretty active. And that is exactly why I teach my community to aim for 50% carbohydrates coming, 50% of your daily calories coming from carbohydrates. Low carb does not mean low body weight. Low carb does not mean weight loss. Low carb does not mean fat loss. High protein or high fat does not mean better fat burning. The only thing that dictates fat loss is rule number 1, which we'll get to in a moment. The third diet rule for fat loss today is breakfast establishes a foundation of stable blood sugar all day long. I'll say that again a little differently. The third diet rule for fat loss is, by eating breakfast and breaking your fast, you set yourself up for better fat burning all day long. Now, this phrase or metaphor, it's not really a metaphor, a mantra, if you will, and I actually think of it as a fact, will really stick in your mind. And this one really, really was powerful for me. If you break your fast in the morning with a meal that stabilizes your blood sugar, you're going to burn more calories all day long as fat. Okay. If you wake up in the morning and within about an hour of getting out of bed, you eat a meal that is structured to stabilize your blood sugar, You will burn more calories as fat all day long when compared to not having breakfast or having a breakfast that doesn't stabilize your blood sugar. You will store more calories as fat all day long. You have a choice. Burn more calories as fat all day long or store more calories as fat all day long. Literally, simply by having the right breakfast. Simply by having the right breakfast, you can burn more fat all day long. So the third diet rule for fat loss is eat breakfast. You should be eating a blood sugar stabilizing meal within an hour of getting out of bed. And if you're getting up and going straight into a workout, you need to be getting some blood sugar stabilizing food in before the workout. Now, this isn't a rule for today's conversation, but in general, in my communities and with the clients that I teach, I do not allow my clients to work out on empty. I strongly disagree with fasted workouts. I don't care if you're getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and working out at 3:15. You have to put at least 180 calories into your body of protein and carbohydrates to break your fast. You've got to break the fast to put fuel in to stabilize blood sugar so that it doesn't come back to bite you in the butt later in the day. Now, this isn't one of the rules for today because today we're talking about 5 diet rules for fat loss. But the best thing you can do to burn more fat is to get food in you ASAP from getting out of bed, and absolutely without question, do not work out on empty. If you have questions and comments, go ahead and share them here. And towards the end of the segment, I will check in with you, answer your questions, and share your comments. Number 2 diet rule for fat loss. We're counting backwards if you're just jumping in with me now live. Counting backwards from the top 5 diet rules for fat loss, David Letterman style. Number 2 diet rule for fat loss is fat loss has nothing to do with eating fat or avoiding carbs or eating high fiber, high protein foods for thermogenesis. Some people believe that eating more fat means I will burn more fat, that eating fat as fuel means I will burn fat as fuel. That's actually not true. It doesn't work that way. So eating more fats, even if they're healthy fats, does not mean you will burn fat better. It doesn't. Eating high thermogenic foods like protein or celery or high fiber foods also doesn't mean that you're going to prompt fat loss. It doesn't work that way. So eating more fat or eating more protein does not lead to fat loss. The only thing that causes fat loss is our number 1 diet rule today, which I'll get to in a moment. The only thing that causes fat loss is the number 1 rule today, which we'll get to in a moment. Often people come to me. We are wrapping up our most recent round of the Nutrition Project. If you guys remember, back in May, I opened up a new class of the Nutrition Project, and those graduates are now graduating and sharing all of their wins and successes from the past 10 weeks so far. We've got 2 more weeks. And I will be opening up another round of the Nutrition Project later this year, so do stay tuned. And one of the most common misunderstandings that I had to clarify in this group, and I pretty much always do, is that the first thing a lot of women realize is that because there are healthy fats, a lot of people are eating a lot of healthy fats. And maybe this is you. Chime in and share in the comments if you're here with me live. If this is you, do you find yourself eating extra avocado or freely allowing nuts or almond butter or tons of olive oil because these are healthy fats. And listen, if you are, it's understandable. I did that for a long period of time. My attitude was, well, olive oil is a healthy fat, so let me eat lots of it. I love olive oil on my vegetables, on sweet potato, believe it or not. I put olive oil in my protein shakes. I love olive oil and I could just drink it. It's my favorite. And I remember before I figured all of this out, there were years when I would do a lot of olive oil because I'm like, well, it's healthy for you. It's a healthy fat, right? But healthy fats do not mean more is better, because dietary fat is also incredibly caloric, whether it's olive oil or butter, whether it's, beef fat or bacon or avocado. A fat is a fat is a fat is a fat calorically. And so if you're taking in too much fat in general, chances are you're going to be getting more calories than you need. And the truth is, more good fats do not equate to better fat burning. More healthy fats do not equate to better fat loss. You don't eat fat to burn fat. Those are a disconnect. Those two things don't line up in terms of helping you burn off body fat or just burn body fat better. Now, again, the name of the game is to get into a fat burning state 24/7. And if you are able to achieve that, you are able to eat proportionately more fat. This is the whole idea behind a ketogenic lifestyle, is that if you can get yourself into ketosis, which is a lot harder than it seems, and you can stay in ketosis, you're then able to eat more calories. But guess what? The research does show that even if you can get yourself into consistent ketogenesis, too many calories mean too many calories. It doesn't matter if those calories are coming from fat or kale or salmon or avocados or bananas. Too many calories is too many calories. And so eating fat, even healthy fats, has nothing to do with fat loss. In a moment, you're going to get the #1 diet rule for fat loss. But if you're just popping in live, please say hello. If you are here with me live, tell me how it's going. I'm having a now cool cup of PG Tips. It's getting there. It's getting pretty cool, which I don't mind because it's hot here on the East Coast. And I do love an iced black tea. But if you are here with me live, please say hello. Feel free to pop any questions or comments that you may have in on the live feed. And if you're watching this on playback and you're over at my blog, take a look down below. There's a comment section. I would love to hear from you. If you are finding this information helpful, please, 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 please share your comments with me. Did you know that a lot of my best information comes from your questions? So if you have a question, or if there's something you're confused about, or if there's something that doesn't make sense, please share your comments either here with me live or in the comment section below, because if you sit tight, you might actually get one of these Hot Tea with Holly episodes about your question. So the 5 diet rules for fat loss. Let me recap the top 4 before I reveal the #1. The #5 diet rule for fat loss: alcohol and sugar turn off fat burning, and the goal is to get into a fat burning state. The more time you can spend in a fat burning state, the easier it will be to burn off body fat. So, one little hack to make your life easier is to minimize or avoid the intake of alcohol and added sugars as frequently as possible. And if you are determined to burn off the body fat, you're going to want to eliminate alcohol and sugar completely. Diet rule #4, diet rule for fat loss #4, is to eat at least 40% of your daily calories from carbohydrates. The perfect window is 40 to 50% of your daily calories coming from carbohydrates. And Low carb does not mean low body fat. Low carb does not mean high weight loss. Low carb does not relate to weight loss in any way, shape, or form. So disconnect those from your head, because it's so easy to be led to believe that low carb means weight loss. And it really doesn't. It can, but not because of low carb. Eating lower carb can potentially shift how your body burns carbohydrates and fat for fuel. So I'm not saying it's a bad way to do it. What I'm saying is low carb does not mean low body fat. And if you're with me and you've ever done a low carb lifestyle or a ketogenic type diet, a keto diet, and you haven't lost weight, please share in the comments here, because I hear it every day. It's true. I was low carb for 15 years and I never lost weight. I was keto for 3 years and I gained weight. Often what I hear mostly is that people are not losing weight on low carb or keto because they're not related. Diet rule for fat loss number 3 is break your fast within an hour of waking up, and do not wake up and work out on empty. Do not do a fasted workout, even if you're getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and working out at 3:15. You always have to fuel your body. You always have to break a fast so that your body can burn fat. Diet rule for fat loss number 2. Fat loss has nothing to do with eating fat. Eating healthy fats has nothing to do with burning off fat or burning fat in general. High fiber, high protein, thermogenic foods also do not equate to fat loss or better fat burning. Sure, eating high protein, high fiber foods can improve thermogenesis. Absolutely. And every little bit helps. So if you do want to eat some high protein foods, some high fiber foods like celery, like vegetables that really improve thermogenesis, that's a great idea. But it doesn't directly equate to fat burning or fat loss. They're unrelated. They are two different concepts in general, because when it comes down to it, there is only one rule for fat loss. The number one rule for fat loss, and really the only thing you have to focus on, is rule number 1, diet rule for fat loss, is you must be in a calorie deficit. If you're going to burn off extra fat, body fat, the only thing that matters is that you are in a calorie deficit. It is the only thing that matters. Now, you can achieve a calorie deficit a number of ways. It doesn't mean you have to eat less, because if you improve how much muscle you have, muscle is going to burn more calories, and that could create a calorie deficit for you. Another way to create a calorie deficit is to be more active as compared to the food that you're taking in. There are a lot of ways to achieve a calorie deficit, but the only way that you can transmute energy from fat to burning it off is through a calorie deficit. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. So if your body has stored body fat, you can't just destroy it. And in fact, you're not burning off body fat. You're shrinking the body fat cells. You're shrinking the fat cells. You're not actually killing them and getting rid of them. So, fat loss is really a misnomer. We should really start calling it fat shrinkage. I need to shrink my fat cells is really what's accurately happening. Because when you lose body fat, you're actually not losing it. The cells are just simply getting smaller. The cells are losing weight by there not being enough fuel or energy in your body. So achieving a calorie deficit is really the only way to prompt true and real fat loss. And that is what I've got for you today. I'm so glad you are here with me. If you want to join me live for one of these episodes so that you can ask questions and just be a part of the fun with my friends that are here today, if you want to have a hot cup of tea with me, join me over at Holly Perkins Fitness on Facebook on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock East Coast time, and I will be live. If you've got questions or comments, please stick around because I will take those now. Who is here with me today? Allison, hello, how are you? Let's see. Jenny Jen June has an awesome comment. I gave up alcohol after Christmas of last year, and it was instrumental in my fat loss success during the Masters. I went on vacation last month, had my first drink and a few more, wink, wink, good for you, ate more sugar, dessert, pancakes for breakfast, and boy, did it bloat me. Went up a few pounds. It really messed up my digestion, and I'm still working on getting it back to normal. It's really true. So alcohol and sugar really do wreak havoc on your body. Now, listen, again, that doesn't mean you should never touch it, because I go through phases where I have more alcohol and sugar and then I don't feel well and I get a little more body fat. So I clean it up and I take those things out. It's a law. It's a rule. If you are determined to bring your body fat down, these are two practices that are going to make it so much easier for you. Jennifer, thank you so much for sharing that. And if you weren't here with us live last week, do make sure that you take a look at the July 12th episode of Hot Tea with Holly, where Jennifer shared her incredible story during one of our How She Did It episodes that will be up on the blog sometime in August, about August 12th or so. That will be appearing on the blog, but you can come on over to Holly Perkins Fitness on Facebook and watch the live episode from last week, because Jennifer's story is really powerful and you definitely want to see her transformation. It's just all kinds of wow, 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 wow. Allison, so glad you're here. Facebook user, hello. Shilpi, hello. Linda, good info. I always try to stay low carb and I'm so tired all the time. Linda, guess I will start upping my carbs. So Linda, sit tight, because in the near future, probably in August, maybe September, I'm going to be offering another round of the Learn to Eat workshop. And this is for you, because I hear this a lot where people say, I'm eating low carb and I'm just tired all the time, or I'm craving sugar and carbohydrates all the time. If you're always tired and you're always craving sugar or having just carbohydrate cravings in general, that's a red flag that you might not be eating enough carbohydrates. So Linda, I really encourage you to explore what we're talking about today, especially if fat loss is your goal and you haven't been successful. I would offer, if you've been doing low carb and it's not working for your goals, let's try a new strategy. Teal, what was rule number 2? I will go over that in a moment. Christine Price, thank you so much for your comment. I enjoyed this. So Teal, if you're still here, rule number 2 is that fat loss has nothing to do with eating fat or avoiding carbs. Fat loss has nothing to do with eating high fiber, high protein foods that are supposedly thermogenic. So eating healthy fats does not equate to fat loss, and eating high thermogenic foods does not equate to fat loss. That was diet rule number 2 for fat loss, is that fat loss has nothing to do with eating fat or eating high fiber, high thermogenic foods. Okay, guys, that is it for today. I'm so glad that you were here with me live. Hello. And if you are watching this in playback, so glad you're here. Leave a comment below. And if you have an idea or a topic that you'd like me to discuss, do let me know, because as I've said in the past, some of my best conversations and best information comes from you. So don't be shy. Say hello. You can also reach out to me via email, holly@hollyperkins.com, if you want to share your thoughts, or if you just would like to learn on a particular topic, let me know. I'll see you next week.